All right, so we are all sat down and all that good stuff. So the question that I get asked the most often is, what are you saving your money for? Why don't you spend it? Why don't you buy more clothes? Why don't you get different furniture? Why don't you remodel your house? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? So I want to go over a few different things with you guys. Like, what are you saving it for? You can't take it with you. That, oh, I hate when people say that. I really do. All right, so I'm going to throw a few different things at you. It seems like everybody, it's like they have a bank account, and it's like every time they're about to get paid, they try to get their bank account down to zero instead of saving that money. But we'll get to that. I want to talk about that one last. So I want to give you 2 or 3 different scenarios. First scenario, we're going to keep it really simple. So let's say you hate Brussels sprouts, right? You don't like Brussels sprouts. You're not interested in buying them. You don't want Brussels sprouts. But people keep asking me, why don't you buy Brussels sprouts? You know what I mean? So like, I don't want it. I don't need it. I don't like it. But then people think that because I have the money to buy Brussels sprouts, I should just buy them, right? Why don't you buy a nicer car? Why, you know, the list goes on and on. It really does. And the only way that I can explain that is by saying, I don't want it. I don't want more clothes. I don't want a big fancy house. I could go out and buy a yacht and a ranch in Northern California and still have money left over, okay? I can buy anything I want. The choice is there. There are no limitations for me, but I don't want it. So why would I go out and buy something that I don't want just because somebody else wants it? Maybe you love Brussels sprouts. Good for you. You know, save up your money and go buy yourself some Brussels sprouts. As for me, I hate them. Well, I don't really hate them, but I'm just using it as an analogy. I hate Brussels sprouts. I don't want any. And just because I have the money doesn't mean I'm going to go buy them. Let's go on to a different one. Let's take Elon Musk. I don't know how many hundreds of billions of dollars this guy has. He's the richest dude in the world, right? I can't even fathom having the amount of money he has. He lives in a $50,000 house and he has literally all the money to buy anything that he wants in the world. He could buy, I don't know, a giant hotel in Dubai, and it's like looking in the couch cushion for change for him, right? This guy has so much money, it's crazy. He lives in a $50,000 house because he doesn't need a big giant mansion. He doesn't want a big giant mansion. And let's use an example of, and I know this is not right. I mean, I'm just using it as an example. So the guy makes $100,000 a month, right? But his bills are only $1,000 a month, right? So he has $99,000 left over. It seems like most of society looks for a way, like they look for a way to spend that extra $99,000. It's like, we got to find something to spend the money on. It's like Brewster's Millions, you know, spend $1 million a day for 30 days. People are looking for ways to spend money, and it's backwards. Everything's so backwards. I'll give you an example. A coworker of mine, sweet person, it was Thursday, the day before payday, and they came up to me and they had their little cell phone in their hand and they're like, oh, I have $13 left in my bank account and payday's tomorrow. Do you want me to buy you a coffee? I was like, what? Like, you only have $13 in your bank account and you're asking to buy me coffee? Oh, yeah, well, tomorrow's payday. This person has no money and they're asking if they can buy me like an $8 coffee the day before payday because they just know that the money's coming next month, but they have nothing saved. I am so beyond that type of thinking that I simply don't understand it anymore. Literally, I do not understand how people think that way. I've gone through so many horror stories, you would not believe it. I had a coworker a long time ago declared bankruptcy, and then they were complaining that they had to declare bankruptcy again. And in the same conversation, she bragged about how her husband got her a $400 purse as a gift just because he loves her. But they're about to declare bankruptcy again. Look, The list goes on and on. But I do not understand that thinking anymore. A long time ago, 15 plus years ago, I got out of debt. If my only motivation was to get out of debt, I would have never done it, right? I was in it for the long haul. My motivation was to become rich. Why do I want to become rich? It's not for me. I want to leave the world a better place than when I was brought into it, okay? I don't have children, never wanted children. That's not for me. That is not my life, okay? I couldn't afford them, and then by the time I did want them, I had a partner that didn't, so that never happened for me, and I don't want them now. I'm too old for that. I don't have the patience anymore, okay? That's personal, and I'm sure that there's going to be people judging me for that, but I'm not interested in having children. But I have 4 nieces and nephews. I've got 2 nephews and 2 nieces. And we all know that we have been on a slow decline since the 1950s. And millennials and the generation after that are having a worse time than the generations before them. So boomers had it best. I think it was Gen X after that, and then millennials, then Gen Y. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but we all know that we are on a slow downhill slope. Getting good jobs is harder, and even if you do get a good job, it pays the same as a crappy job and probably has the same benefits or lack of benefits as a crappy job. So I know that my nieces and nephews are going to have it harder than me, and it is my job as auntie to make their life easier. And I know I'm not their parent, okay? And their parents are doing very well, but you know, I want to be able to leave a legacy to someone. And that doesn't even include the charities that I'll be giving to. I'm giving to so many charities. It's not my financial advisor, Joseph Laswell at Way Financial. You can even ask him. I mean, that's fine. My beneficiary for my entire account with him is the Animal Rescue Foundation in Walnut Creek, California. That's where I got Rocky. I've been donating to them for years. They put out a financial report every quarter. They send me updates. They're very responsible with their resources and their finances. That's the charity that I chose, and that is a legacy that I'm also going to leave. It's my footprint on the world to make things better than what they were when I got here. And when I'm so conservative with my electricity and with my finances, it's simply because I don't want the stuff, okay? I grew up with a mother who was normal, but then once we moved out, she started hoarding. She wasn't mentally well in the end. And I don't really want to, that's between her and God, you know, not any of my business. But I remember visiting her, and it was very uncomfortable. Trying to clear a space to just have enough space to sit and put a plate on the table was very, very uncomfortable. So I don't like clutter. And then I had a partner who was also a hoarder. And it seemed like the more they brought in, the more I had to get rid of my own stuff just in order to be comfortable in my own space. So I don't like clutter, and I don't like stuff. In fact, most of the stuff that I have is just for like that painting behind me. I could do without it. You know, it's just there because otherwise it would be a blank wall and people would be like, why is your wall blank? You know, I already have people talking about above the fireplace where the wall is blank. But I don't want stuff. I don't like stuff. I don't like having a ton of clothing where I have to like make a choice between 50 pairs of pants and 120 shirts. I just want to pick a shirt that I like and just grab it. You know, they say you use 20% of your clothes 80% of the time. So instead of having that additional 80% of clothes, I'll just keep the 20% and then I'll just use the 20% and that's it. It makes life so much easier. So for those of you who have been with me for a long time, I've probably answered this question before, but now, at least when I have new people coming in and putting in the comment section, why don't you buy this? Why don't you just spend it? What are you saving it for? You can't take it with you. I can just put a link down in the comment section and be like, this is why, watch this video. So I'm putting it out there. This is why I am the way that I am. I'm just living my life. If I had $100 million, I don't think I would live my life any different. I might be, I don't know, in a different part of the country, but other than that, I don't really think that it would be different. I wouldn't have a bigger house or a yacht or boats or Sea-Doos or ATVs or anything like that. I would just be living my life. All right, folks, that's what I've got for you today. This consumer culture is ridiculous. We should not be trying to get our bank accounts down to zero the day before payday. It should be exactly the opposite. Do what you can with what you've got. Prepper Princess out. 3 dinners for $1. 1 box of fettuccine Alfredo and 1 chicken breast divided into 3 pieces. So there you have it, folks. Just gotta conserve. Instead of having a full piece of chicken, have 1/3 of a piece of chicken. There's a ghost, a poltergeist in my house.